And how are the tyres performing here, Brock?
Yeah, it's they've actually been really good. You know, we're just trying to do what we can at the moment with them. It's a little bit greasy on track with those conditions, but yeah, the lap times for sure would be a lot faster if there was a little bit cooler. But at the moment they're holding up for the distance, so yeah, on that side that's okay.
We just saw a shot of the circuit, 14 circuits. Where are the difficulties for the riders once you get out onto the track?
Actually, here it's so fast and it's a lot of stop and go, so there's a lot of problems with brakes, and because it's so hot, the front brake tends to boil. Seems to be a pretty big problem. A lot of guys have run on straight off off a lot of the corners and into the dirt. I'd probably say that would be the most difficult thing at the moment, and yeah, other than that, it's an awesome circuit, great layout, and it's always great to come to China to race.
We'll be hearing plenty from Brock throughout the first two races. Our focus, though, now turns onto the Underbone 150cc. And Aldi Satya we saw in pole position ahead of McKinley Kyle Paz, the young Filipino. I want to talk about Aldi Satya because 13-year-old Barry Russell, he won in Suzuka, his first ever race. That was in wet. He's on pole here in these conditions. What can you say about the young fella?
Well, he proved what he could do in the wet. He rode really courageously. It was just him and Adib Rosley who really gripped those conditions, and he was the one who came through and won. He was made up over it, and we thought, well, what can he do in the dry? Well, he showed us today, because there's no slipstreaming, of course, in Superpole, and out of the top 15 riders through from qualifying yesterday, he came through on top with a 2:01.497. which was about 0.9 of a second quicker than McKinley Kyle Paz, who we just looked at.
We had also a look at Warren Wello. He's the championship leader. He's had 2 second places and a DNF in those difficult conditions in Suzuka. We're now on to the third row of the grid, and Akid Aziz is another who's had a relatively inconsistent season. 2 podiums and a 4th place in Suzuka, but 1 DNF and a 2 and a 3 for Akid Aziz. In the Underbones, consistency is such a difficult thing to achieve, and yet the top riders are achieving it.
Yeah, and for me, Akid Aziz is the guy who's showing just a little bit more class now, a little bit more consistency. He was very quick all the way through practice at Suzuka and here yesterday, and in qualifying, and he was 4th, which doesn't really mean much on an Underbone grid, because going back to Suzuka, Gupita Krishna won race 1 from 22nd place on the grid.
This is another of the experienced old veterans, Ahmed Fazli Sham. He's another who's been able to win 1 race, get another podium, but had 3 zeros in the early stages, just to prove exactly what you were saying, the inconsistency, very difficult for the Malaysian rider. He's on P6, lapping 2:03.541, but it's how you cope with the cornering on these tight circuits that it makes all the difference on Underbone.
Yeah, it certainly does, and of course they run with Moto3 Dunlop slicks, which all the riders love. It's their second season on them now. They perform very well.
Brock, coming back to you very briefly, you've had a chance to watch the Underbones. Give us your thoughts on them as a superbike and a guy who deals with the big stuff. The Underbones are great fun.
Yeah, you know, for spectator-wise, it's unreal. It's one of the highlights of the whole weekend to watch these young kids, and yeah, I'm just happy that I'm old now and that I don't have to get in those kind of battles. But yeah, it's a crazy race, and you know, all these young kids just want to win, and it's so good. It's such a good race to watch.
There are a couple of veterans out there as well. There's a couple of 36-year-olds, Ahmed Fazli Sham. They must just love the passion of racing.
Well, I didn't realise that until Suzuka, and then I realised that one was that old, and I said to him, he's crazy. He's nearly the same age as me, so I would be like, no, I don't want to be in that race, thank you.
Let's look at the starting grid as it runs. A teenager, Aldi Satya, is on pole alongside McKinley Kyle Paz from the Philippines and championship leader Warren Wello. Second row, all Malaysia, Akid Aziz, Izzat Zaidi and Ahmed Fazli Sham, one of those 30-somethings. As we move a little bit down the grid onto row 3, you've got Ageng Fakrul, the young Indonesian. Pitapong Bubompeng, who had a very good time out last time with a 6th and a 7th place finish, and Gupita Krishna, the experienced Indonesian, alongside him on row 3. Haziq Farou's a rider I've really been enjoying watching over the last couple of seasons, alongside Effendi Rosley and Rosaima Mohammed Said for the Cardinals racing team. moving down the grid again. It's a very congested and compact grid. Wayo Ajichilaksana, who has won Underbone at a 115cc. Adib Rosley and Fernando Mazzato, the young Filipino, had a great start to the season, has fallen away recently. Richie Taroa, Mohamed Murabil Vitoni and Faiz Zekri. Completing row 6 onto row 7 is at Mohamed Radwan, Amrul Arif Musa and Fitri Ashraf Razali for the Cardinals Racing. Again, all Malaysian. Indonesia and Malaysia dominating the riding stats. Sharul Amin. Sharul had a 13th, 4th place finish in race 1 in Suzuka. He's alongside Ryan Nugroho and Ayman Azman. Row 9, Mohamed Iqbal alongside Fajli Shah Redzwan and Mohamed Safiuddin Azman. And then the 2 Vietnamese riders at the tail, Vu Tan and Duc Tan. They will be in 28th and 29th respectively. Here for experience as much as anything. Barry Russell, you've been watching many of these riders. You've seen them emerge and grow. And I want to talk about Haziq Fairuz, who's a little bit far down the grid than I expected him to be. What's gone wrong for Haziq this season?
Not sure about Haziq. Like you, I always expect him to be up at the front. And riders do go from nowhere to the front. Maybe we'll see something from him today. So he was 10th in qualifying, which is Superpole rather. So 10th on the grid. So that's a really good result for him. That gives him an easy shot to run with the front guys. He has been playing second fiddle to Akid Aziz in that team. So maybe there's some tactics going on there. We'll just have to see what happens. There's one point about the senior riders we were having a bit of a joke about with Brock just now, is that 2 of them are old enough to have been raced here last time, and they are Effendi Rosley on the Team One for All Yamaha and Rosamund Said from Cardinals Racing. Those guys have both been here before. I think they're the only ARRC riders here who have been.
I'll just give you an idea of Zhuhai. We last raced here in 2012. Aldi Satya, the man who's on pole, was 7 years of age. How does that make you feel, Brock Parks?
I tell you, when I come to see these young kids and stuff, and you know, they're not much different to my kids. So when I see that, it does make me feel old. But
we'll see how old you are later on today. You've qualified pretty well, and we'll see you out on the track in the thousands. That is the 4th of the 4 big races coming your way as the riders come back to get into the starting position. It's a 4.4 kilometre track here, 14 turns, and this last corner, Barry Russell, it's a quick corner, but being able to keep it tight to that curb will be key, particularly in the underbones, where they could be 6 or 7 abreast coming into the final corner.
There'll be at least 6 or 7 abreast coming into that final corner. There's going to be a lot of slipstreaming. It's going to be difficult for anyone to break away. As the grid lines up now, we'll just see what does happen, but it will be difficult to make a break here because there are so many straights. And those Dunlop Moto 3 tyres are going to get a really good workout now.
We're expecting big crowds later on today as the event grows. There were big crowds in the pit lane this morning and yesterday. But the Underbone 150cc riders are focused very much just on the track ahead of them. The riders to look out for: Aldi Satya, bike 570. He's in P1. He's on the right of that shot. Wawanwelo is the championship leader, the yellow livery for him. He is on the left of that. Getting into the first corner isn't essential, but it does just help you set yourselves up. And the lights go on. We are just about set. Oh, there's a problem there. There's one late starter. Wawanwelo looks like he's got off to a decent start. Aldi Satya straight into the right mode, hunkers down over the handlebars, gets as little wind resistance as possible, and the youngster Aldi Satya, wow, what a transformation we've seen him in the last month or so, Barry.
Looks like nobody's told him it's difficult. He's straight into the lead there. He's not overawed by these fast riders they've got there, the young guys and the older ones.
Like 99, it was Vu Tan who had a real problem getting off the start. I think he did get away, he just managed to get things up and running in time. But it's Aldi Satya Mahendra for Yamaha Racing Indonesia who leads the way. Wawanwelo's in there as well, also very close to him. As is taken through by McKinley Carpaz as well. So Adib Rosley is in the pits. He's a did not start. He crashed during either the practice laps before or in the warm-up lap. Superpole he crashed. So he is out missing today. Early stages of this race, Brock Parks. How do you think the riders will be looking at this?
Yeah, you know, these guys just want to get in flow. They know that the race is it's only 8 laps, but they know they need to be towards the front. But it's a long race and it's very hot, and yeah, they just need to not lose that slipstream and be there at the end.
Staying out of trouble, but easier said than done. You look at how they are congested, and if there could be contact, every opportunity of contact as they go in 4 abreast. You've just got to be so cautious.
Yeah, sometimes 4 to 8 abreast, you know. So, and here the braking points are really difficult because a lot of the braking points come off a right-hander into a left-hander, or vice versa, and it's really hard to find the brake points. They've got to stop corners, so let's see what happens.
Into the final fast corner. Aldi Setia currently in P2 at the moment, so the youngster has proven that he is ordinary. It's McKinley Paz for the Philippines, who's recovered after an indifferent start. He had a first and a third in the first 2 races of the season in Sepang. He had a DNF and a 3-pointer last time out, so McKinley Paz, a big race for him to get back up and challenging Warren Weller at the top of the championship, Barry.
Definitely so. He won the first race at Sepang this year, but hasn't had a great result since then. He was very confident. I had a chat with him. He was in the Ducati Philippines garage taking shelter after a Super Pole, and he's very confident. So I think we're going to see some good results from him this weekend.
Izadzadi and Akid Aziz and Gubita Kreshna are all in that top 6. 9.9 of a second separating P1 from P9. As we are into P2, a little grin going over Brock Park's face there. It is a different kind of racing, Brock.
Yeah, definitely. You know, to be honest, in Australia we miss this kind of racing. You know, we learn racecraft and to fight with other riders, and you know, it's a great little series for the up and coming kids, and you know, it's teaches them a lot of disciplines that they can take on throughout their career.
Late onto the brakes was Aldi Setia Mahendra, who's looking pretty mature at 13 years of age. He's the youngest 150 Underbone winner of a championship race, Barry. And how do you explain his sudden confidence in the last 2 races?
I don't know how you do explain it. I think if you've watched what he's been doing back home in Indonesia, they do come up suddenly. They appear to come up suddenly, but he will have had quite a bit of track time. And like Warren Weller, he had his first ride as a wild card in Indonesia last year, and instantly became a front runner. And he's carried that form through very much to this season.
Akid Aziz in that little group as they come through. Warren Weller was in that group, and Aldi Setia will just be leading by a wheel. It was as they went over the line. It's Warren Weller from Aldi Setia. Gubita Kreshna, there's a name that we often mention up at the top. McKinley Paz is 4th place. Izadzadi, Akid Aziz, Razaiman. Haziq Fairuz in that little group as well. Looking forward to Haziq. Now that is a problem for Admiral Arif Musa from the UZ Honda Racing. It looks like his day is over as he gently makes his way into the tracks, and there's so much going on. The last thing you want to get is a mechanical problem, Baz.
Yeah, that's right. And the one thing about these machines is that they're so highly tuned. I mean, as stock road bikes, they put out about 13 or 14 brake horsepower. These are tuned up to produce 28 or 29. So engine breakages are not that uncommon.
Fernando Mazzato has taken the lead, the Filipino. Back on to Brock Parks. Talk us about through what you're thinking as you're going around the track. I mean, obviously you know what's coming up, but do you just get yourself into a groove where you worry about your race only, or you're aware of what's going on around you?
Yeah, for sure. Our races are a little bit different, so we don't normally have 15 of us or 20 of us, you know, racing for each corner. You know, my race is 13 laps, so tyre wear and stuff like that, and your position on the track during the race, and yeah, you're always thinking about this and where you can attack, or where you're faster, or where you're better, and where you can improve. So yeah, it's a little bit different race strategy to these guys, but yeah, there's a lot of things going through your mind, and for sure for me the first few laps is to stay out of trouble and try and be as close to the front as possible.
Well, Arif Musa looked pretty disconsolate as he went into the pits there. There's not an awful lot of jostling here. It doesn't seem the widest track, but the riders have kept themselves, for the most part, out of danger. as they come through at the end of lap 3, and the race leader will be well, I think, as they go over the start-finish line. Aldi just leading by 0.026 of a second. Akid Aziz, Mazato's in there, McKinley, Kyle Paz. So the Uma Racing Yamaha Philippines team look like they're coming back into form, Barry Russell.
That's a great shot of the leading group as they come through, by the way. But yeah, I looked down this entry list, and honestly, I think based on recent form, there are up to 20 riders who are capable of winning. Seriously.
And nobody's doubting that. You look through the season, you've had McKinley, Kyle Paz with one, Fernando Mazata's had one win, Akid Aziz has had one win, Ahmed Fazli Shams had one, Gubita Krejna's had one, and Aldi Sati's had one. 6 races, 6 different winners, and podium places dotted amongst 12 different riders, just to prove your point.
And former champions all the way through the field as well, like Effendi Rosley, Aji Trilaksana. There's so much quality in this field. It's a sport in its own right, Underbone Racing, and there are those 20 riders I just mentioned. They're all together in that leading group.
They are indeed. We're approaching the halfway mark, midway through lap number 4. It's still Aldi Setia, who was on pole and has been happy to lead from the front. Very often you see the pole sitters dropping back a little bit just to see the right lines to take. Barry, not here. Aldi is leading from the front. It looks like he's trying to make a point of some description.
Yes, he does, and I think you can contrast his approach with that of Akid Aziz, who's still very young, I think about 20 years old or something, but much more experienced. But contrasting tactics from those two. Aldi's obviously, as you say, comfortable at the front.
The different mindset of racers, Brock. Some like to lead from the front, some like to just see what's going on. How would you make that judgment?
Yeah, it's 13 years old. You know, leading on the front, I think that with a kid like that, he just wants to get out and, you know, push as hard as he can and stay at the front. But yeah, that looks like the shock cartridge bit from the shock has come off that bike there. So he's trying to put that back in the fairing by the looks.
Shafaruddin Azman it was, who are doing a little bit of running repairs. Nothing shocks you in this form of racing.
No, it's, you know, even walking around the pits and stuff, and you see these guys down there pulling the engines apart, and the engines, the mechanics with the engines all over the garage and renewing the engines, and yeah, it's definitely something special.
Aldi Setia still leading the way. He is under pressure though. Akid Aziz and McKinley Kyle Paz in there. Hazik Farus has made a move to the front as well. Also in the midst of their bike 97, who is Razaima Mohammed Saeed. Every time it comes onto this main straight, 6, 7, 8 abreast, Barry, we never lose it. And a little bit of contact there for the first time. It's beginning to get a little bit more competitive as we come into the second half of the race.
Yeah, we're seeing a bit of a rehearsal, I think, for what's going to happen in 3 laps time, 4 laps time. But still very tightly packed together, and really nobody's going to be able to break away from this group.
McKinley Kyle Paz just slots it into 3rd place there. Hazik Farus, bike 27, keen to see how he copes. Ahmed Fazli Sham in the green livery, started in P6, is just happily making his way up on the outside of the track. Let's avoid the track, let's just go on the dirt instead. Let's not have any limits here. But still, Aldi Setia. Alongside him is McKinley Kyle Paz. I'm enjoying the attitude of Aldi Setia. 13 years of age, where everything seems possible.
Yeah, it does. Brock said it exactly right. He's just giving it all he's got. Akid Aziz keeps going alongside him, just to have a little look. He'll be thinking about the last lap, probably more than Aldi is.
Warren Weller also, bike number 38. He stays the championship leader, started in P3. At the moment, he's down in 7th place, but less than half a second down. Again, the top 10 separated by less than a second. The top 15 separated by 1.357 seconds. You can't afford to make a mistake in that kind of congestion, Rock.
No, that's right. You know, they lose the slipstream in this class, and yeah, it's really hard to get back. So they've all got to try and stay in that main front group. And you know what? Back to riding on the dirt. It amazes me to see this class and the 250 class how they're on the dirt and they just still hold it flat and come back onto the track. It's something that I've never really seen or experienced in my career.
I'm looking at your expressions as you're watching this, and every so often your eyebrows raise. What the heck is going on there?
Yeah, exactly right. It's something that, you know, it's definitely a spectator's sport, this one, and I think they get a lot of people watching this race because you never know who's going to win, and every corner they're racing for every line.
Walwello seems to be making a bit of a move towards the front, as does McKinley Kyle Paz. Also in there is, I think, is that Zaidi's part of that. Haziq Farouz was having a look at for 27. Again, I'm always expecting Haziq to make a run because he was the Aldi Satya of a couple of years ago when he was 13, and everybody expected him to kick on from there.
Yeah, is that Zaidi also well overdue a good result?
There is Haziq, bike number 27, just cutting inside is Walwello. There he says to Aldi, come on, let the old guys take control here. Had enough of you kids as they come down. It's a very flat course, but there are just a couple of little gentle inclines, and you can see the straight line speed. Aldi Settia struggles a little bit there as they come into this final corner once again. 1, 2, 3, 4 abreast, avoiding contact once again. It will be McKinley Kyle Paz leading as they come through with 2 laps to go. Now then, Haziq Farouz leads from McKinley Kyle Paz. And here's the grouping, Barry. In fact, Brock, let's talk to you about the grouping and the caution you need.
Yeah, now you see a couple of guys getting a bit more commitment on the brakes into the corners. So, you know, there's only very few cambered corners here. A lot of the corners sort of off camber. So, and a few stop corners. So you see them coming in there, and then a couple of guys standing up, and then that's when it starts to get interesting.
Walwello in the midst of everything. 17, Fernando Mazzato is back in the lead once again. The Yuma Philippines team, they had success in Sepang. They're looking to get used to what's going on in Zhuhai. Very few of the riders have had experience of this track before the practice sessions here, Barry Russell. That makes a big difference to how they approach the race.
Yeah, I guess it does. And now, Wawan is trying to get away there with is that McKinley Kyle Paz in front there?
Correct.
Yeah, so they're trying to get away. I just don't think they're going to do it. If they make a little break, they're going to get sucked back in on one of the straights.
Haziq Farouz also in that little group as well. And Aldi Settia's got himself back in. 17 is Fernando Mazzato. Look out for him. He's been there or thereabouts for much of the last 4 laps. And Ahmed Fazli Shams made a little move into that leading group as well.
Yeah, there's another rider you can never rule out of a podium position or a win.
So it's Aldi of 570, but Walwello, bike 38, who leads the way. Walwello, the championship leader, 71 points, a 12-point lead over McKinley Kyle Paz, bike 123, as they get as low down as they possibly can. But it's searingly hot out there, Barry. We haven't spoken about it beforehand, but the trackside temperatures are pushing into the 60 degrees.
Yeah, track temperatures at 60 degrees, and it feels hotter than the so-called 33 or 34 degrees that they're saying the air temperature is. It's just like blasting a hairdryer in your face.
We are where into the last lap it was Mazzato who led, and then they fan out 8 abreast as they come into this corner, and Mazzato is just swallowed up.
Oh, and there's the first one down.
That hasn't been unexpected. Contact was expected as they came into this fast right-hand corner. We'll work out who that is in just a moment. We think it's Mudderbill. It is 97. Razaima Mohammed Saeed is the man who has taken a bit of a tumble, and another goes down. 2 are taken out, and that caused a problem also for bike 23, Gupita Krishna. So 3 casualties on the final lap, but Aldi has kept his out of any trouble. Akid Aziz and Walwello also happily placed. Walwello, bike 38, he takes the lead into this right-hander. Talk to me about tactics in the last lap here.
Yeah, now it's a difficult one to say who's going to, but it looks like the top 4, or now they're all back 5 together. So yeah, it's one of them. I don't want to try and pick a winner at the moment.
It is always difficult. Wayu Aji Chilaksana was a casualty there. So 4 riders left in the dirt on the final lap. We expect more as we come into the final corner. There's the contact. This is the first incident. Just loses it at the front.
Yeah, it was his own mistake, that one.
Look at the second incident. Was that Ahmed Fazli, and he took a couple out with him as well. And the casualty there was Gupita Krishna, bike number 23. So we are back live, and Fernando Mazzato is leading the way. This is a two-man race. Mazzato and McKinley Kyle Paz as they come over the finish line, and it's a 1-2. McKinley Kyle Paz, Fernando Mazzato, Aldi Satya in third, Haziq Mohamed Faris in fourth, Wayu Nugroho in fifth. But the Philippine teams, the Uber Racing Yamaha Philippine team, Barry Russell, are 1-2, and there's more debris out on the track.
And we see Wawanwelo crashed there. Just trying to see which turn that is. Bad luck for him. That's messed up his championship chances, but great result for the two Philippine riders. We were saying that they're due a bit of a recovery, and Aldi Satya Mahendra has scored another podium finish.
P3, half a second down, but Wawanwelo, we'll keep an eye on Wawanwelo here as he comes in. He's in the yellow livery. Look out on him there. Again, he just loses it himself.
Yeah, he did it himself.
And he's very lucky to avoid what looks to be the bike very close to landing on him, but he didn't look in good position there, Wawanwelo. Immediately hit the ground. Let's hope he's recovering from that okay. But the race itself for McKinley Kyle Paz and Fernando Mazzato, they're back to the form they showed us in Sepang.
Absolutely, and this is very much a form game, this championship, and they've done exactly what they wanted to do. They probably didn't even hope for a 1-2 in this race after a few indifferent outings, but that's fantastic. And Aldi Satya Mahendra, you might expect a young rider like that to be outdone through his inexperience on the last lap, but not at all.
There is the winner, McKinley Kyle Paz. It's his second victory of the season, having won race number 1 in Sepang. But our thoughts are with Wawanwelo because he's still on the track, and hopefully the medics have got there very quickly, and we'll give you an update as soon as we possibly can. But in the meantime, Brock Parks, who's guesting for us for these first couple of races, I enjoyed watching your reactions to how those riders are going, but there were an awful lot of casualties, a lot of contact, a lot of crashes in that final lap. It's still a mighty dangerous sport.
Yeah, you know, everybody's battling for their last lap there. They need to be on the front, and they're racing so close, and you know, a lot of young kids in there trying to go for the win, and you know, it's not good to see that, but anyway, yes, this is the racing, and when it's that close, then sometimes you have to push a little bit more, and then yeah, that happens. But the racing is mighty exciting, and to see, you know, the last lap like that, it's always on the edge of your seat.
What we can tell you, we've just heard that all the riders are reported to be okay, even Wawanwelo, who I was concerned about because Wawan was static on the track, but the medics have got into us, and we can report that at the moment they are all okay. On to the results. Well, we saw McKinley Kyle Paz, Mazzato and Aldi Satya Haziq in 4th place. Coming down the list, 30 seconds adrift is at Mohamed Ridwan and Gupita Krishna, Fadzli Shah Redzwan, and the two Vietnamese, Duc Tan and Vu Tan, both finishing the race and will be out of the points, but good experience for them. Of the casualties, Wayu, Aji, Murabil, there were 5 that we saw on the last lap. Barry Russell, we always expect excitement, we always anticipate excitement and real drama, and we've got it once again.
Yeah, we did. We expect it, but we never like to see the riders going down, and it's been a really tricky couple of seasons for Wayu Aji Trilaksana. He's so far overdue a good result. He's a really quality rider. He's even got a stadium back in his hometown named after him. He's a real hero back in Indonesia. But my goodness, he needs a good result. But glad he's okay. I noticed Gupita Krishna was furious at being effectively run off the track, which put an end to his race, because he hasn't had such a great couple of seasons either. Both those guys, Wayu and Gupita, are double champions.
But we're seeing a real surge from the Philippine riders, McKinley Carl-Paz and Mazzato. Mazzato started a long way down. He's got himself up into P2. I believe we can go down to the trackside where we're hoping to speak to the top 3 riders. Wheeling is down trackside.
Thank you, Des and Barry's. Aldi, congratulations finishing 3rd today. Share with us how difficult was the race here at Zhuhai this afternoon.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks to Yamaha Racing Indonesia, thanks to team, thanks to Yamaha. And finally, I got the podium.
Thank you so much, Aldi. Congratulations. And coming in 2nd place today is Fernando Masato. Congratulations, Masato. Another podium here, and of course, racing here under very hot conditions. Share us, how do you manage to pull out the final lap?
My strategy is follow the group and follow my teammate, and the very bad condition because very hot. The tires is so slippery, and that's why thanks to my team, to God, and to all the fans in the Philippines. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Masato. Congratulations. And today's race 1 winner, also from the Philippines, McKinley Carl-Paz. Carl, congratulations. Another victory here in the Underbone class. However, today was very tricky once again for you guys. Share with us, how was the race?
First of all, I would like to thank to God for giving me a safe race and another bonus race. And I'm not expecting this to happen, but by the way, thank you to my team for doing their great jobs to prepare our bike. Then to all our supporters there in the Philippines, thank you so much. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Carl. We'll see all 3 riders on the podium.
Thank you very much. Yes, interesting contrast in the reactions from the riders. The teenager just thrilled to be on podium once again. McKinley Paz and 2nd rider Mazzato, a little bit more mature, but there's real celebrations. Let's have a look at how McKinley Carl-Paz picked up his 2nd victory of the season. Here's the highlights of the race that we've just seen. And it started with Aldi Setia on pole, and the teenager Barry Russell made a real beeline to try and lead from the front right the way throughout the whole 8 laps.
Yeah, there's no trepidation about the way LD rides. He just gets stuck straight in there. He shows no apparent awe of the other riders, and he just got on with it. And he did great all the way through this race. He was he's clearly a rider, as you said during the race, to stay at the front. And he was snapped and snarled at by a whole variety of top quality Underbone racers all the way through this, including Akid Aziz, including the 2 guys that finished in front of him, Wawanwelo, of course.
Brock Parks will be racing in the 1000cc later on, but delighted to have him as a guest commentator here. I was loving your reaction as we're seeing everyone's coming 6, 7, 8 abreast sometimes on the main corners. Did you see a strategy out there from anybody?
Nah, to be honest, I think they just raced the last 2 laps for every centimetre, you know. And yeah, there was a couple of when it started to get heated, a couple of guys come together. The one in the first corner was his own incident, but then later in the race, yeah, it started to get a bit crowded, which I think we're going to see soon. But yeah, I don't think there's a strategy really. I think that the guys have been racing this series for a long time. They know that it's going to come down to the last lap.
What we did see, though, was Fernando Mazzato. In his interview, he said his idea was to keep out of the pack. There he is leading, so we can disbelieve perhaps a little bit of what he said, but keeping out of danger, Barry Russell, it's so important, certainly in the early stages. The idea is to get yourself in a position coming into the final lap and a half where you're in a position to challenge.
It's just a case of striking the balance between staying out of trouble. If you're at the front, you're going to stay out of trouble, or got the best chance of it. And not so far back that you're going to get knocked around, as Wawanwelo did.
Some of the more experienced guys, Ahmed Fazli Sham in the green livery there, he is exactly staying out of trouble, but Wawanwelo trying to lead from the front, as was Aldi. But it's the Philippine riders, they've had a great time. Uma Racing Philippine team, they're getting a lot of publicity back home. and that can only boost your confidence if you know the people back home are supporting you.
Yeah, definitely. They've got huge support in the Philippines. They're genuine sporting heroes. If you watch the comments on the ARRC Instagram or Facebook pages, they've got such a big fan base.
This is the start of the trouble. That's the problem for Warren Wello. Looks like he got a glancing blow there. It left the Philippine riders to slug it out at the front. McKinley Kalpaz just ahead of Mazzato as they came round the final corner, and it was a sprint to the finish line. McKinley Kalpaz, it was, just able to hold off Mazzato, but a worrying injury for Warren Wello there. I'm glad to say he's all right as we enjoy the celebrations, but if you get a glancing blow, you've got problems.
Yeah, that corner where he high-sided, it's sort of it comes off the camber. It's cambered and then it slowly falls away, and looks like he was just a little bit too much lean angle, and yeah, unfortunately he went all the way over the handlebars, and yeah, big crash, and it's great to hear that he's okay.
He is indeed, and we hope he'll be racing tomorrow. We'll be able to update you on that. Coming up in just a few seconds' time, we'll have the podium. We're just waiting for the riders to get into the right place. All the pit crew are there. Of course, they're wanting to celebrate, and the Philippine national anthem will be very, very proudly sung by these guys. Coming back to Zhuhai, it's the Philippine International we're going to be hearing in just a moment. Firstly, Hui Ling, I think, can talk us through the podium ceremony.
We'll begin the podium ceremony for the Underbone 150cc Race 1. Coming third place today, Aldi Satya Mahendra from Yamaha Racing, Indonesia. Coming in second place today, Fernando Masato from Umar Racing, Yamaha Philippine team. Today's race winner, McKinley Kalpaz from Umar Racing, Yamaha Philippine team. We'd also like to invite a representative from Umar Racing, Yamaha Philippine team to join the riders on the podium. We will now stand for the national anthem of the Philippines. We'd like to invite Ms. Apple Gong, the Secretary General of China Automobile and Motorcycle Federation, to present the riders with their trophy. Coming in third place today from Indonesia, Aldi Satya Mahendra. In second place from the Philippines, Fernando Masato. And today's Underbone 150cc Race 1 winner from the Philippines, McKinley Kalpaz. And the best team award today goes to Umar Racing Yamaha Philippine team.
Angkat trophy, take trophy, look in front.
Okay, raise your trophy, guys.
Motorbike Federation for handing out the awards. It's a Philippine 1-2. Mazzato behind McKinley Kyle Paz, but another podium for the teenage sensation Aldi Satya Mahendra. Let's have a look at what that does to the overall standings in just a moment. I reckon McKinley Kyle Paz will have leapfrogged Warren Wello to the top of the standings. Just a little bit of ahead of my time there. We've got to have the photo award. Here are the championship standings. Mikhail Paz is now 13 clear of Wallenwello. Akid Aziz leapfrogged himself up to 3rd place on 66 points. And Mazzato leapfrogs himself from 9th into 4th on 62, just ahead of Ahmed Fazli Sham, whose consistent season on the 1XOX bike continues. Philippong Lubempeng and Aldi Satya completing the top 8. That's terrific performance from Aldi Satya. Back-to-back podiums for him.
Remembering here, Des, is round 4 for the Underbones because they missed out on Australia.
Okay, we've done the Underbone 150cc's. There's 3 more big races to come as the heat continues to melt the track here. Coming up after the break, we've got the AP 250cc's. You're watching the Asia Road Racing Championships from Zhuhai in China.